This week in church, we've been thinking about the story of Martha and Mary and the time that Jesus came to stay in their house with all his friends. Martha was being the good host, looking after Jesus, all his friends, making sure they were all fed and looked after, whilst Mary was sat at Jesus' feet. Martha is naturally quite upset about this and says to Jesus, "Tell my sister to help with all the chores." But Jesus says to her, "Martha, you're worried about the wrong thing. This is where Mary is supposed to be. Let her be at my feet." There are 1,000,001 sermons all around the world about this story, and most of them come down to Martha is asking Jesus to help so that the work can be done quicker and that all the stuff gets done. They can all spend time relaxing together. And normally in churches, this is coupled with a plea, come and help us with this project that we're doing. But I think there is a different explanation as to what is happening in the story. At the time of Jesus, there was a Rabbi Elijah, who said that it is better that the whole of the Torah be burnt than it is to teach it to a woman. And I think that is probably a common reaction and view within the first century of the time. And we can see in some places of the world it's still a common belief. If we look at what's happening in Afghanistan, girls go to school in primary school, but they do not go to school in secondary school. And even when I was growing up, there were things that girls were not allowed to do. They were not allowed to play football in school. And yet look at where we are now with the Lionesses winning tournaments, getting to tournament finals, proving that girls are just as good at football as men. Some would probably argue better. Martha is scandalized by what is happening because Mary is at Jesus' feet learning from Jesus. Jesus is accepting her as a disciple. And this would have been seen as a great shame, a great dishonor to the family at the time. But Mary must have known that it was okay to sit at Jesus' feet. Jesus' reputation must have gone on ahead of him, otherwise why would she have done it? Sometimes in churches we divide ourselves into Marthas and into Marys, those who are being and those who are doing. I think if we get it right, we can pull off a magic trick. We can be Martha, Mary, and Jesus. By being Mary, we challenge the views of society around ourselves. We challenge those who say, this is unacceptable. This is not how society should be. By being Jesus, we affirm those who challenge societal norms, because all too often the church has been on the side of those who seek to control and dominate society for their own ends. The hard bit is being Martha, because being Martha involves recognizing that there is this troublesome rabbi come to stay in your house with all his friends and still offering hospitality. The hospitality of the church is found every time we celebrate the Eucharist. We gather round the altar and we celebrate God with us. In her book, Searching for Sunday, the great American writer, so sadly now late American writer, Rachel Held Evans, put the hospitality of God like this. This is what God's kingdom is like, a bunch of outcasts and oddballs gathered at a table, not because they are rich or worthy or good, but because they are hungry, because they said yes, and there's always room for more.